It's time now to explore the week's top stories. Ray Hartley is the author of Ragged Glory, a look at how three presidents, very different men, shaped 20 years of our democracy. And Richard Poplak is author of Until Julius Comes, a swashbuckling look at the political climate in the run-up to the May elections. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Your books couldn't have come out at a better time. Ray Hartley, we've just had a very long week of Jacob Zuma in Russia having a rest, but
yes,
also under huge amounts of pressure. Is it curtains for him, you think?
I think he's in serious trouble. I mean, the ANC has finally recognized, I think, that his interests and the nation's interests are no longer, you know, in the same ballpark, and that maybe they could be losing ground, especially to the EFF.
Richard Poplak, is that the game changer? Was the EFF shouting him down in Parliament the thing that worked?
Well, it was certainly one of those sort of explosive moments that really do capture the imagination of, you know, of the electorate, of the media. It was just one of those memes that are going to stay with the South African public for a long, long time. I mean, you had guys in hard hats in Parliament slamming on their hard hats, yelling in hashtags. It was, you know, it was an amazing moment of theatre. What's the long-term sort of benefit of that, or detraction of that? I'm not quite sure at this point, but I think they're definitely here to stay.
Ray Hartley, you write about Thabo Mbeki a lot here. He left after his interests, as you say, and those of the ANC were misaligned. Can the ANC, is the ANC internal machinery capable of doing the same to a Jacob Zuma, who still has a lot of power in KZN, for example?
Yeah, I think that Jacob Zuma certainly still has a lot of power within the ANC. It's not a cut and dried issue that he's going to leave early. But
which means that if it comes to a vote inside the NEC of the ANC, he could still have 60% or maybe the 74% that you got in Mangaung.
He could, unless there is a clear person emerging who could take over from him.
Is such a person emerging, Richard?
I don't think so at this point. I think there's still some real. The ANC can't capitulate, in my opinion, at this point. They just can't look weak so soon after the EFF putting all this pressure on them, and so soon after the SPYTAPES issue was broken. So
but they look confused, and they look they're on the ropes, certainly.
They look confused because they are confused, and they look like they're on the ropes because they are on the ropes. Still, I think there's some real strength in that organization, and there's some real pride. Pride and smarts are not necessarily always intersecting. But I think capitulating now, throwing Jacob Zuma under the bus now, would make the organization look real weak. It would be a real crack.
Ray Hartley, Julius Malema, you both refer to the theater, the fireworks in Parliament just a week and a half ago. Is he the Hitler that Gwede Mantashe that he says? Is he the sort of Renamo type who's going to start a rebel movement in South Africa? Right?
Well, I think it's very difficult to pigeonhole somebody in that way and to say they are the same as an historical figure. But what's interesting about Malema is that he has the ability to play the populist card, and he plays it brilliantly. You know, by the time the morning newspapers come out, he's all over the social media. He's the story. He's got to be the headline. He's in the papers. He's on the front pages. I mean, this is a party with, you know, less than 10% of the vote, but more than 90% of the coverage. Now, in order to accomplish that, you need some skills. And the chief skill that he's got is how to bait these people into giving him attention. And they never fail to bite.
Richard Poplak, in your book, Until Julius Comes, you followed him around, you reported on him. Is he the real winner of these elections?
I believe so. I believe so. I mean, with Gwede Mantashe calling him Hitler, you know, at late at night in any party, when everybody's had a bit too much to drink, it's like, you're Hitler. You know, it's sort of the end of the argument. That's when you know the argument is over. And of course, you know, there are elements of the EFF that remind their observers of fascist movements, the iconography, the fashion, the berets, the red overalls. But all of that stuff has sort of fitted with the sort of South African personality in a very interesting way. And I really do believe that the one figure that emerged from that election from the 2014 election, the winner was Julius Malema. I mean, who is anybody else talking about right now?
Ray Hartley, you observed not just the ANC and these presidents in power, but you also observed the opposition from the DP at 1.7% in 1994 through to today, where they are sitting at 22%. But have the events of the past 3 months, this election, been so significant that the nature of opposition in South Africa will change? You speak about Malema being the news 90%.
Yeah, I sort of agree a little bit with what ZILLE was saying. You know, that it's, you know, you shouldn't rush to that conclusion just yet. Let's see how the public reacts. It's one thing to be completely enamored with and entertained and amused by something, but another to say that this is now where I place my political bet. So it would be interesting to see what comes out in market research. You know, what all these various pollsters come up with in the next couple of months. I'd like to see that first.
What happens to the EFF without a Julius Malema?
They go to pieces. I mean, I have spent some time with the organization, not as much as I'd like, certainly more than they'd like. You know, when Julius Malema walks in the room, even with big personalities like Floyd Shivambu and Dali Mpofu, there's one man at the helm of this organization, and that's Julius Malema. The entire organization, the whole shebang is built around his personality. He goes, I'm not quite sure what's left.
Ray Hartley, you seem to agree?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's the cult of personality.
But Nelson Mandela was like that, and you observed him for a very long time.
But Nelson Mandela was also very interested in spreading the love, in actually bringing other people into his inner circle that disagreed with him. Whereas I think Malema, and you know, that's where the little bit of this fascist kind of, you know, you've got the personality cult, and it's all around the leader, and the leader is, well, he's the commander-in-chief. You know, he's the guy who lays down the law, and the party doesn't have an internal democratic procedure. Take the leader out, there's chaos, there's disintegration.
Ray, your book really is all about the past 20 years and where we go after this. Now, there's been a lot of analysis of, you know, where's South Africa and so forth. I'd like to get your views, both of you. Are we, you know, do you go through our newspapers and you think, oh, it's the end of the world, South Africa, it's over. Is it over? Have we done well? Can we do better than this, Richard Poplak?
Well, I just returned from about 10 days in the Central African Republic, and I can tell you what chaos looks like, and we're not even in the neighborhood. We have a really difficult political road to walk. But as I say in Until Julius Comes, and I say it a few times, I have great belief in the South African individual to make the right choices down the line. Freedom isn't about eating ice cream for breakfast. You know, it's about making hard choices. It's about taking responsibility. It's about being vigilant. And I think that at the end of the day, as interesting as our politics may or may not be, it comes down to South Africans to say enough is enough. And I think we're kind of headed there.
Ray Hartley?
Yeah, I think that we're in a better place than we were in 1994, and we need to remember that. I mean, my title, Ragged Glory, is about that. You know, let's remember that there's some glory here. We got rid of apartheid, we've united the nation, the homelands are gone. There is a stable political system in the country. But then there's the ragged part, okay, which is that it's not looking so good lately. There are too many people in very powerful positions who are questioning some of the key underpinnings of this democracy.
Ray Hartley, Richard Poplak, thanks so much for your time. Both your books, I believe, are available in the bookshops. I hope everyone goes out and buys them. I've read Ragged Glory, I'll read yours, Richard Poplak, and I look forward to doing it. Congratulations, both of you.
Thanks, Jess.
Thank you.
After the break, our winner and loser of the week. Stay with us.